Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Grandpa Mark's Hobbies and build update number one on AMT's 37 Chevy Coupe Street Rod. This kit first came out in 1968. New box, the whole new kit. This one was molded in 1975. The only difference between the first one and this one is a new box. Then it came out in 79. It came out again in 2014, and then it came out again in 2021. Now, yeah, there were offshoots of this. They made the convertible version. They made a couple other things. But in this line, this kit is exactly the same in 1968 as it was in 2021, except for the decals. So that's saying a lot about a kit and how it's standing up through time. But I want to dig into here because I want to show you what's going on with this, and I've had a blast so far. First, I want to talk about the chrome. You always hear me talk about bright, bright chrome. Well, this is perfect bright chrome. If you look at it, it is what you would expect to see in scale in chrome. It's bright, it's shiny, but it's not toyish, if that even makes sense to you. But if you look at it, I think you'll see what I mean. It's more subdued, but it's not. I'm not going to use the bumpers, but I want to show you the bumpers. You see what I mean? They look like bumpers. And I'm impressed with that. I was thinking about using these for the fronts and the backs. These would be the backs. Let me know what you think. I am doing this as a gasser. I can't remember already if I said that or not. But I want to show you here, talking about the chrome. Look at the grill on this thing. See, it looks fantastic. And I'm not sure if that's just the way it used to be chromed and that's what I remember growing up, or if this is just faded through the years or what. But I panel line that. I hit the center, the Chevy bow tie with some clear red just to bring it out. I can get away with doing stuff that's not original or stuff because this is a gasser and he did whatever he wanted with it, so we're having fun with it. But I'm very impressed with the chrome. Same with on the blower. You know what I mean by polished aluminum on the blowers. And that's what I'm seeing here is the chrome front and back, but the body of it would be that polished aluminum. And this, I did nothing to it but glue it together. And it fits that bill perfectly in my book. So I'm just leaving that alone. I did strip the headers because they had quite a bit of flash on them. So I stripped them down. I'm in the process of cleaning them up. Let me know what you think. Should I do these in a steel? Or should I do these in chrome? Or should I do them in like that white powder coat? And if I do it in the powder coat, I don't think they had the powder coat back in the 60s era, 50s, late 50s, where I'm thinking about this would be made. So I'm not sure. Let me know what you guys think. Dashboard, I'm using the fuzzy dash. It's the only dash that comes with this is a pleated, padded dash. But I'm okay. I've been working. I got a whole pile of garbage here. I've been working on and it's not even in there, gauges on this. And man, I'm telling you, I'm going to throw them on the floor. That's not what I want to tell you. Impressive. Very impressive. That's just panel liner. That's all I did with this is panel liner. Black panel liner dropped in there. A couple drops around it, around all the gauges, and then one light drop inside each one. And I don't know if you can see that on camera. I really sure hope you can. But you can read those gauges. They're awesome. So they're going to drop in here. And I think that'll look pretty cool. I'm doing it again. I've decided I'm going to do a black and red interior. I think that's just going to look really sharp with this. And you'll see why when I start getting to the other. Here's the bay. I did the roll bar. I like doing these when I can just set them in there and glue them up before I paint them. Then I'll paint this up. We'll get everything going. But I wanted to make sure that that fit and stood true before I painted everything. Now, the wheels. These were split wheels. You had to put the wheel itself together like an old Army Jeep or something like that back in the day. And then I started sanding them out. I got these pretty good. They're really showing up bad on camera because you can't really see that seam in person. But now that I see that, I'm going to have to sand them a little bit more, and then we're going to use pastels on them. I started the center doing the Kragers, and I thought it would be easier to do the whole center blue and let that dry. I've let it dry for a couple of days, and now I'm going to come back with I talk about this stuff all the time, my green stuff chrome, and I'm going to paint around that little Krager, and hopefully that's just going to show the Krager at the end. This stuff covers pretty well, so we'll see about that. The steering wheel, I'm showing you a little stuff first. That's the way it came, and it actually is split open. You can see my finger through that. It's already open all the way up. I was really impressed with that. So it's hard to see. Nobody's going to, there you can see. Nobody's ever going to know it but me because I saw it before it went in. But how cool is that for a kit that was put together in 1968? Very impressed. I'm going to jump into the engine here. This is supposed to be a 454. All I've done so far is the basic glue up and got the seams. I want to sand this down and put the headers on here to figure out where I can squeeze spark plug wires in. Because these headers have, I just had that in my hand, they have the big plate on them. This thing's made to take up that whole thing. So I might have to cheat and just drop them in somewhere where I can and go from there. But we'll get it wired up. We're not gonna show a whole lot of wire. I want to run them down around the bottom anyhow and up. But we're definitely got to wire them, even if I have to go right on the seam at the bottom and put the wires in there just so I have them and bring them around to the carb. To the carb. To bring them around to the distributor. And speaking of the distributor, I want to dig it out. You can see it's got the mag right on it, but the distributor is kind of lackluster there. So what I plan on doing is I plan on cutting this thing off all the way down and saving the mag, but cutting this all the way down, and I'm going to use half of one of my resin ones that was given to me, and I'll put that on there, and then we'll run the wires to that. And that's already has the holes in it and everything, but look how tiny that distributor cap is. I want a little more beef in there. We'll play around. I'll make sure that when I put this on here that I can squeeze it underneath into the firewall and all that, so it's not banging into the firewall and out, just causing havoc everywhere. But that's my plan with that so far. We're going to still use the, how about if I put it on the right way? The steel oil pan. It's a bigger oil pan. It's got the mounts on it. I'm not going to strip it. I like that look. That's going to look really good with the Chevy red on here. The other thing I'm thinking about using, and I don't know, it's just because you don't see it very often, is the old stove bolt taillight. That big, huge plate taillight that went across the back. I've seen it in pictures a couple of times. I've never seen one in person. It is huge. It takes up a lot of space, and with the gas running, I don't know if they would use it, but I like it, so I think we're going to end up using it on there. I'm not lighting this or anything. so I won't have to worry about light diffusion in there. But I just think that's a cool look. Like the quintessential 50s era, bigger chrome is better. This is the best I can come up with. Another thing I kind of did, and it's not the best, but it's way better than it was, is I drilled out the front. I sanded this flat because there was zero detail on it. I sanded it flat, and then I drilled in, starting with my dental tool. I heated that up and made center marks with it, and then I drilled that out until I got just this size. And I'm happy with that. I still got to come in and chrome the front with the green stuff, but that's a whole lot better looking than what it did look like. And then on this side, I drilled the 2 holes for the linkage up top. I drilled 2 holes in here. It's supposed to have 3. I'm only going to do 2 for the fuel block. I'm going to run 1 here, 1 in the back, and then I'm going to tie the linkage into here also and run it out. I drilled the 4 holes across the back, and that's why it's only getting 4, because there was no room to do the 6. And then I have the 2 on this side. So we are going to have linkage. We'll do the linkage spring that comes back and down. I am going to have, 2 fuel lines running around off the block, and then the throttle will run back into the firewall that way. So we got a lot of extra here to just jazz up the engine for dirt cheap. And I'm all about that. You know me. Keep it as much as I can into the build or into the box, and I don't really care to add a whole bunch of extra to it. All right, now that I want to talk, now we're going to have to jump into the body. I've done a lot to this body, and it really doesn't even look like it, because the way they built the kit, it was easy to do and make it look like you didn't do anything, almost. But what I did is on the inner fenders, I cut these out for the headers on both sides, and they were scribed very well. So all I had to do was a couple hundred times with my trumpeter panel scriber, and just over and over and over and over until you cut through it. It took about an hour and a half to do all 4 of them, and that's because I was being super careful while I was doing them, and it paid off because they do look really nice. But I cut these 2 out, and then in order to put these big tires on the back, because they stick out here, you have to cut some of this fender away. So I cut the fender away, and it's scribed on the inside, kind of, but it was easy enough to scribe it out with the panel cutter, and then sand it down and make it look even on both sides and make both sides match and all that. I added the headlights because I want these to be a solid glue on there. I didn't want to pin them because I didn't want that pin to show in here. And I figured I'll tell you right now, I'm going to go with a semi-gloss black on this, with a semi-gloss black interior and red on the seats. And I'll show you the seats in a minute too, and you'll see like this is going to look cool that way. But I wanted these to be nice and solid, so I figured with the semi-gloss, I can take my 0.2 millimeter and I can get down in here no problem and get this with the gallery 0.2 millimeter that I use all the time. I know I can get in there and paint that up to where it looks great. And I'm not going gloss, so that even helps more. So I did that. I moved the gas can or the gas cap from the back here to the fender because I wanted to, and no other reason than that. It actually had a place to line up to drill it. There's nothing in the instructions for that, but it's there. So I went ahead and drilled that, and I just some Tamiya putty and put on there and sanded it down till I was at 33,000 grit, just my wet dry sandpaper. Sanded the whole body, I put the glass in just to see how it looked, and I hated it. The glass did all 5 windows, plus the vents on here. So what I did is I said, you know what? We're going to try to cut the glass and just have the front and the 3 backs. No door windows, because I wanted them open. And then I started thinking, I don't want the vent window in there either. So I cut that vent window out. And I'll tell you what, here's a picture of it with the vent window still in there. And you tell me if I didn't make a huge difference without making really a difference at all. Because if you see the vent window, you're like, yep, there's a vent window there. But when you don't see it, it looks like it shouldn't be there. So I went that route with that. But then I cut the glass and made it fit. And I was really happy. It goes in there nice. I sliced it back. I sanded it to where I'm back behind where the vent windows would have started. So you won't ever see it, so you won't ever know it was there. I also cut the 2 tie-in pieces out of there from the front and the back, just because why not? And then I took the back and I trimmed it to where the back window's gone. You can't see it from the door, and everything fits in nice and tight. So like I said, I got these 3 windows, the front window and nothing else, and I think that's going to look just outstanding. And then the other pickle to this kit is it comes with a glass hood. And it has a couple of scratches in it. And I was thinking, you know what? I'm going to dip this in my quick shine and make those, get rid of those and all that. And then I thought, I'm not going to do that. This thing's been floating around in the bottom of this box since 1975, and it looks this good with just a couple of scratches on it. I want to highlight those scratches, and just because it's that old and still in that awesome of shape. So, you know what? If I get hit on a few scratches on my hood, I'm kind of cool with that because of what they mean to me. But I just want to save the history, I guess. Everything else is going to look fairly decent. I want to have a couple of them. I'm okay with the scratches. What I do plan on doing, though, is coming underneath here all the way around with my gallery. And I got to go through these every time because I just don't know colors that well yet. But they have some cool colors in here. And I'm not sure if I'm going to use the gunmetal or if I'm going to use this zirconium black and just do the edge all the way around on this and see how that looks. And if I hate it, well, gallery also has the eraser, so it's not like I'm ruining anything. I can still take off, and I got all these everywhere here. I can still get rid of the paint if I don't like it. So it's a win-win with that. But I do want to make that dark. And what I'm looking for is to make that look like that metal piece that's on the bottom, or the rubber piece that would fit down against on the body and not scratch the paint on the body, like a big rubber gasket that would be on here. Doubt if they even had one, but that's what I'm going with. But there's the body and everything. The seats, let's talk about the interior real quick. I said I'm going to go semi-gloss and red. The door cards are going to be semi-gloss. I'm not going to try to tape that off in there and paint that red because I think that'd just be too much. The bottom here, I am going to stay with flat black, even though this is wood grained. I'm going to go flat black in there because it's not going to be wood when he's trying to make a gasser. You know how much extra weight that would be? So we're going to do that. The seats, I'm going to go with a semi-gloss black on all of the molded part of the seats. And then the leather, I'm going to do the red. So the leather's going to be red here. Since this pad is already on there, I'm going to go with a red pad here also and just cut line it right down at the bottom where the back behind the roll cage here. So I think that's going to look cool. I'm trying to get that roll cage in without my... I think that'll look really sharp. I am going to put 2 seats in. Although it's a gasser, I'm going to make it a street gasser, which means I got to figure out how to put a license plate on this thing somehow. But that's down the road. But there's that. And I want to show you the detail in the rear end. I haven't sanded this or anything yet, so I still have a pretty decent mold line there. But this was sandwiched this way, so all I have to do is really work around it here, and we'll try to leave the nut on the back and all that. But we'll make them look good. I showed you the headers and all that. I have to do my belt. This is the worst flash on anything, is right there. Out of all this kit from 1975, when everybody's like, oh, they didn't make them, well, man, they sure did a heck of a job. I'm really impressed with all this. But with that, I've bugged you pretty well. I want to thank Gallery again, because without them, I wouldn't be able to keep going here. If you're going to get something from Gallery, which I highly recommend everything they make, use Grandpa Mark in the coupon code and get 10% off. I want to remind everybody that we are doing our first annual breast cancer awareness 24-hour group build, October 11th, 2025, starting at 8 o'clock in the morning Eastern Time. That'll run in conjunction with Bob's Model Works Chris Cortell Annual Cancer Awareness Group Build, which runs from October 1st to October 31st. A link is in the description for that one, so check that out too and sign up for his. Also in the description is a link to the GoFundMe page I set up for the American Cancer Society. We're going to take donations the whole time we're building, and you can start now if you want. But all the proceeds are going to the American Cancer Society, so any help you can give would be greatly appreciated. I want to thank our veterans, first responders, and active duty members. Without all you guys, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing right now. So my hat's off to every one of you. And I want to thank Automotive Model Car Livecast, Jason, Mike, and Bruce for just keeping me so entertained every Thursday night from 8 p.m. till when they're done. It's usually an hour. Well, no, it's not. It's usually an hour and a half. They try to keep it to an hour, but it's a blast to watch them. They have a lot of fun, and they're always doing cool stuff. So you check them out every Thursday, Automotive Model Car Livecast from 8 p.m. Eastern Time until they're done. And then with that, I will let you go. The gasser's coming along. I hope the next video I show you we're in paint and maybe have some stuff put together. But with that, I will let you go. Y'all have a great night, a better tomorrow, and thank you very much for watching.